Welcome to Next Steps, a podcast from Blackhawk Church. We believe that following Jesus is a lifelong journey, so no matter where you're at, there's always a next step to take. Each week on this podcast, we'll create space for real conversations about the questions we wrestle with, the challenges we face, and the hope we find in Jesus. Our goal isn't to have it all perfectly figured out, but to walk faithfully towards Jesus together. We're so glad you're joining us. Let's dive in.
Okay, so welcome back to the Next Steps podcast. This is our fourth episode of the Care Takeover. And today, yes, I'm Kierce, care pastor, and Alicia Penning,
Hello,
associate director of care. And as always, our wonderful podcast producer, Isaac.
Yes,
Hello.
Isaac Mitchell. He was our favorite part of the last episode that we did.
That's true. So if you didn't
look
listen,
for more of Isaac Mitchell in this podcast.
I know.
friends.
So today we're talking about when caring for others starts to drain you and what to do about it.
Yes.
So sometimes this is called compassion fatigue or secondary trauma. But I think that for any of us who have cared for someone, especially long term, we can recognize the exhaustion that occurs when we're providing care. So caring for others is beautiful and meaningful work, and also can kind of drain us.
It can be very hard work, yes. And I recently have learned some very interesting things that this is, I feel like we've probably all heard people and felt ourselves the experience of when you've been intensely caring for someone, the experience of feeling fatigued or burned out or exhausted by the work. I actually recently learned that this is there is scientific explanation and backing for this. It's not just, kind of coming to the end of ourselves or anything like this. What actually happens?
Yes, you've learned about the brain science behind this and the difference between empathy and compassion and how that affects our brains and bodies. So I'd love for you to talk.
It's so interesting. Well, I think one thing that's very interesting is we have these things called mirror neurons. And physiologically,
I'm looking in the mirror on the wall.
Like you're looking at, yes.
Okay.
So basically what happens when your mirror neurons, when you're sitting with someone who's in distress, your body, these neurons begin to mirror what they're experiencing. And so physically, we begin to experience a similar version of what that person is experiencing.
So you physically experience what they're sharing.
Yes. So I just finished a behavioral health class at UW where they talked about this phenomenon and how it affects caregivers. So it's not just it's not just something that's in our head or something that happens to us emotionally, but this is actually a physical response that our bodies have when we're caring for people.
I feel like this is so important because sometimes when we feel drained by the care that we're providing, we can think of it as a moral failure, or we haven't done something, or we're not holding up. There's a lack of strength or something, but it's actually a human reality of how we're made.
Yeah, it takes a toll on our bodies as we care for people. And that doesn't mean, we still continue to do this work because it's deeply meaningful to care for people. But I do think as you step into caring, it is very helpful to realize that this is compassion fatigue is going to happen.
Yeah.
It makes you tired. Your body's going to respond. And so we really need to take the time to learn and be intentional about what to do to protect ourselves from that and to restore ourselves afterward. I don't think there's any way you can protect yourselves from actually feeling that. I think it's about doing things to intentionally take care of yourself to restore yourself afterward.
So before we jump into kind of what to do about it, let's talk about how we experience it. So I'd love to hear, I don't know, Isaac, have you ever been in a relationship where you see yourself as a caregiver?
For sure. Yeah. Well, obviously my wife and I, our relationship, and there's totally been countless experiences where, I've been the caregiver for a certain situation. I don't think that's I don't think that situation or any of those situations have been me feeling like exhausted afterwards,
Okay.
though, because it's more of like that's my role as a husband, and you know, I'm still learning how to do that as well. But this is like less than a year.
So let's talk
ask me,
next
like,
year
5 years
when you're
and-
really
yeah.
drained. But you have some ministry content. I feel like you've shared previously with me and not recorded, but that you have served in ministries where you've served people who are experiencing homelessness. Like I wonder about after those days when you're
Yes.
handing out meals or engaging with people who are really struggling. Yeah, have you? I don't.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So I went to school at Moody Bible Institute in Chicago. I graduated in like 2023, I believe, a little bit early. And I was part of a ministry there called Frontlines. And Frontlines is basically this ministry on campus full of a ton of students that would go out on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We'd all gather together, make a bunch of sandwiches, and then we'd go out and basically try and find homeless people around the city. We had different routes that we would go on that were like previously scouted, where they're like, okay, there's a bunch of people there. Let's go talk with them. It wasn't about evangelism. It was more about just like offering care.
Providing,
And we would ask them what they needed. And a lot of it was food. A lot of it was clothing. Sometimes there were random items like sugar packets. I remember one woman was like, she really just wanted sugar packets for her water. She just hated drinking water. So, so we did that for her. And, it got to the point, I think, where after doing that for so long, I was also, I did that my entire career at Moody. So that was like 3.5 years.
Were there days after that you felt like this kind of work kind of took a toll?
Yes, for sure. I think oftentimes it happened while I was having those conversations. I mean, because these people are also living in a world that I can't even relate to. You know, I can try and I can listen to them as much as I possibly can, and I can offer as much help as I possibly can, but I can't relate to what they're going through. And sometimes hearing that and just like listening, but not being able to, not necessarily offer assistance, because I could do that in certain ways, but it was pretty difficult after, so much hearing about things that I just can't do anything about.
I wondered if that's sort of what you're getting to. Sometimes when somebody shares something with us, it's so big and we're not in control to change it for them. And the feeling of hearing something that is so significant and difficult, and not being able, I can't make your cancer go away. I can't bring back your loved one, right? There are things, and in that situation, it's, well, I can hand you a meal for today, but is there a long-term change that I can affect in your life? Yeah, maybe not. And so kind of the emotional toll that it takes and not being able to really change that circumstance for another person. Yeah.
Especially when you're doing that work over time, I think you experience that the effects of those mirror neurons, week after week, and that can begin to take a toll after a while.
Alicia, how do you notice when you are experiencing compassion fatigue? What happens in your body or in your relationships?
I often describe it as feeling overwhelmed. But I think the place that when I start to notice, and actually I don't know if it's me I think I start to notice it in my core relationships, meaning the ones that are
family.
I'm my family, my husband and my children. And what I'll notice with myself is when I'm feeling overwhelmed or when I'm feeling tired, I just become like more irritable with them.
Okay.
I feel like I'm a little shorter. So often they're my better barometer of how I'm doing. Like sometimes I feel like I wouldn't describe myself as burnout, but if I would ask Adam or the kids, like, hey, are you noticing, Mom?
Okay, they might notice.
They might notice.
Yeah.
Mom seems grumpy. That would probably be how they would describe it. If my family starts to describe me as being grumpy, then I think that's an indication that I'm feeling some fatigue from the, oftentimes these days it's from the spiritual care that we provide.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Anne?
There's a phrase that when I say it, when I hear it come out of my mouth, I know that I need to kind of pull back and take better care of myself. And that phrase is, I don't have time for this. So if somebody comes to me with something and I think in my mind, or I say out loud, I don't have time for this.
Yeah.
I know that I've been overextended or I've been extended, to the point where I need to kind of recharge.
You're just kind of reflexively, it's like instantaneously saying, I am at my limit.
Yeah.
I've hit
this
my
is my
limit
limit
or beyond
and I don't
it.
have time for whatever is coming my way.
I don't have time for this.
I don't have time for this. I think also one of the things when, I am a very social person and I'm talkative. I really enjoy relationships, but when I start to withdraw,
And is the withdrawing, like, do you view that as a healthy thing because you're trying to create more space? Or do you feel like it's kind of a self-protective thing that doesn't actually serve you?
Both. I think there's like really helpful ways to withdraw. Some of the things that I do intentionally to take care of myself are things that I don't do with other people.
Yep.
Like, for instance, something that I really treasure is an intentional, beautiful breakfast with my Bible study.
Yeah.
And just kind of, sitting with my Bible and my Bible study. And I love sparkling water with citrus and coffee and a fresh salad.
And when you say your Bible study, you don't mean the people. You mean
not
like
the people.
book.
I'm sorry. No, I mean a book.
Yeah.
I mean my Bible and my book and my study. And so that's something that I want to do. And I also play French music.
I had no idea about this. This is so
I
fun.
do. French music and Bible study for me go really well together because I don't understand the words.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't distract me from what I'm reading.
So it's just the music. Yeah.
Or from my prayer. It's just the music.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so like that's something, studying my Bible and having breakfast is something that I want to do when I'm on my own and with an empty house. As you know, I'm very committed to my sauna practice.
Mm-hmm.
I love sauna. And I do sometimes do that with friends or with others, and that's enjoyable. But mostly I want to do that on my own.
Yeah.
So I think that's really healthy.
Yep.
Withdrawing and not being vulnerable or not sharing with people or not communicating well, I can
That's the
sometimes
unhealthy
do
side,
that.
yeah.
That's not very positive.
Well, and I feel like compassion fatigue is tricky because it's hard to tell if what we, sometimes for me at least, sometimes the response that I have to take care of myself, sometimes it's helpful and sometimes it's not. Because sometimes when I'm feeling overwhelmed or exhausted, what I go to are actually not helpful things. Like, we might have talked about this in an earlier episode, but I feel like when I go to social media on my phone and I'm scrolling, like that feels like I can just feel like I need this. I just need to zone out.
Yeah,
but
zone out.
It's actually not. I feel more strung out afterward.
Yes.
And so I think it can be tricky to know, like, especially when it comes to like withdrawing or something. Is this something that's going to be restorative, or is it like, I just feel like you really have to pay attention. And I think there's good reflective work that we can do on whether or not what we're doing is restorative in the long term for us.
Because social media is easy. And a lot of like the easy stuff that kind of numbs you out or zones you out is maybe not the healthiest.
Yeah.
Right? Like, watching some fluff TV or like, on Netflix, like that's real easy for me to do.
Yeah.
But it's maybe not the best.
Yeah. I have heard, what can be helpful is even writing down some coping strategies, but also keeping a list of like, we sort of have a list in our heads of what we know we'll actually do in those like exhausting moments and things that we know would be great, but when we're so exhausted, we don't often have the capacity for it. Like, say like saunaing or something where
it doesn't fit in my schedule if I'm way busy. Yeah.
You have to go somewhere versus like, okay, making a cup of tea in a mug that you feel excited about. Or, sometimes it's as simple as that.
Favorite mug. I have my teacups that I enjoy.
Yeah. Are there things like this for you? I mean, I feel like the examples we've given have maybe been a little women specific. Give us some answers.
Isaac, are you pouring a cup of tea in a teacup?
Well, no, I'm not.
You don't have a favorite.
I get in my car with my fishing rods.
Yes.
I find a lake that's not Lake Mendota or Lake Winona because those are always packed in the summer.
Yes.
And I find some place alone to go fish.
I love that.
Yeah, I love that.
The rhythm of fishing, I think, is really soothing. Yeah, and nature. I think a lot of people find refreshment in nature and paying attention to the things that the incredible world God created and really feeling connected to that. Yeah.
Okay, I love too that you've only been here for one summer, and this is already you've discovered the lakes that you like to go to, the places that work for you.
I'm still searching. I mean, it's a big. There's a lot of lakes around here, but
maybe we'll get some suggestions in the comments.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, please tell me where you go.
Oh, I love that though. The fishing. Yeah. Well, and I think it's also important for us to kind of look at like how burnout happens. Yeah. Because I think if we were carrying without appropriate boundaries and extending ourselves past what our role is, and we're kind of over functioning in that way, we're carrying things that we're just not meant to carry. I think that's something like working in spiritual care that over the years has become like a pattern that I've seen is that it's really when people are stepping outside of their roles that compassion fatigue can happen more, or where they're taking on things. You and I, Alicia, had kind of talked about, I think sometimes we feel responsibility, like I'll say I have as a community group leader, where someone in my community group is experiencing something and gosh, my heart goes out to them. I know them. I love them. I'm praying for them, and it makes great sense that my support would step up a bit. But there are times where it's like, oh, am I stepping in a way where now I'm taking over, like, maybe I'm trying to be a house cleaner. Maybe I'm trying to be a nurse for this person.
Yeah, especially when we start meeting some of those things that really, there's specialized training.
And so what I've essentially accomplished for them is now they really don't have a great community group leader anymore because I've overextended myself. And their nursing care really stinks because I'm not actually a nurse. Right. And I don't know what I'm doing.
But you're trying to step into that role.
I'm trying to step into something that's really, not my business. Mm-hmm. And gosh, they really need that support. Yeah. So I think, times that I've noticed it's the people or situations where, gosh, my heart just goes out to them and I want to help, and I'm trying to do things that I'm maybe not great at and is really outside of my role.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that impulse to fix whatever hard thing is happening is just so strong when you're in, especially if you find yourself, I mean, I think this is true in any relationship when you care about someone.
Yes.
But particularly if you find yourself in some sort of like shepherding role or where someone's really looking to you to be with them in it. And maybe they're not even asking for you to fix it. But for me, at least the impulse to make it better is still there. And so, Yeah, I do still really actively struggle and don't always do the best job of resisting that impulse.
Right.
But
Well, and partly, of course it's wonderful for me to show up with flowers.
Yep.
Or bring dinner or go to the park with someone and help, kind of watch their kid or, some of those things I think they're wonderful and necessary and helpful. But sometimes we can step into really over functioning and stepping outside of our role. And sometimes that can be a hard line to determine in the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially when someone is in like very significant distress.
Right.
I was supporting someone who was supporting someone else who was really struggling with a kind of an ongoing mental health crisis.
Yeah.
And so, and my friend who I was supporting was kind of this person's, like they were relying on them in some ways I would say to keep them alive, like for days at a time, like expecting them to be available to text throughout the night, 24/7. And my support for this friend, I don't know if this is making sense. I'm like one removed from this.
You're supporting the caregiver.
I'm supporting the caregiver because the caregiver was experiencing such burnout from what was happening. Like it was affecting other areas of their lives, their other relationships, their work.
Well, and you're describing being up all night.
Yeah.
And that can wear thin quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. But of course, this person, has felt like, like what is going to happen if I don't provide this care? And, I think this is one of those situations where you have to look at, okay, what does this person actually need? And am I equipped to give it? Because what the person who is struggling really with this crisis is what they needed was some mental health professionals to be involved in what was happening. And so, my support for the caregiver ended up being like, hey, let's call Journey Mental Health together. Let's call their crisis line. I know you're not in crisis, but I just want you to talk to them. And I can't make this better for you or set the boundary for you, but I can come with you as we bring in some other support. And so we ended up calling Journey together and talking with them, and they really did a fantastic job walking my friend through some possibilities for certain. I mean, they offered to call the other person who was in crisis and really offered to provide the kind of support that this person really needed.
Yeah.
And so, that was, I'm like, I've seen this happen pretty significantly when we reach a point of, overextending ourselves, stepping out of our lanes.
Right. And why I think it's a picture too for why community matters so much.
Yeah.
Because one person can't, it's too much. We need to share, and that might include some expert care, professional care. And it doesn't minimize the importance of a really good friend who is available. But certainly, a really good friend needs to be in addition to that professional expert support. Yeah. So what other ways do we kind of sustain caring relationships without running empty? We talked about kind of setting healthy boundaries and not overextending ourselves into roles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think giving ourselves permission to rest is a big part of that. And I know you've thought a bit about this, but tell us from your perspective, what makes rest so hard for people?
Right? Well, okay. We've talked a little bit. I think our culture just values busyness. We're rewarded and complimented for busyness. And sometimes I think we can look at rest like it's lazy.
Yeah.
Right? If you slept in, or if you took a nap, or if you took some time for yourself, it's like, oh, okay. Like, so, like you're not productive or something. I don't know if you guys experience that, or even maybe you give yourself a hard time for sleeping in.
Is rest easy for you, Isaac?
Oh, it depends. It totally depends.
And do you enjoy an afternoon nap? Are you a napper?
I'm not a napper.
I'm not a napper either.
I can't. I don't, unless there are some times where it'll just happen, and then I'll wake up and I'm like, okay, I clearly needed that. I don't know where that came from, but that doesn't happen very often.
John Ortberg says sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is take a nap.
Take a nap. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think, okay, and maybe, I don't know, this is just my opinion.
Yeah.
I think rest can be what you need it to be. And when we think about rest, we do think of like taking a nap or, or maybe sitting and enjoying nature or that kind of thing. But sometimes I feel like the rest I need is really active.
Yeah. Like boxing for you, right?
Right. So that might be along the fishing route too, where it's like the rest that I need is really active and intense. And that feels great to me. Like I want to hit a speed bag until I'm dripping wet with sweat, and I want to blast my music. And that feels like a restful kind of release of whatever I'm carrying. So I feel like permission to rest and permission for rest to be what you want it to be.
Yeah. And sometimes I think it's just getting yourself out of the intensity of whatever the caregiving thing is. Like we were at our Care Commons a couple weeks ago, and one of our very wise volunteers talked about this idea of a brainwash. Like, or what was it?
Oh,
do you remember this?
Rinse.
A neutral rinse. Yes. I was like, brainwashing.
I don't know
That's
if it was brainwashing, Alicia. We talked about a neutral rinse and like knowing yourself, right? We're all different. We're all unique individuals, and knowing for you what kind of returns your brain to neutral.
Not a brainwash.
Not
so sorry.
We're not brainwashing our care ministry volunteers.
Those are two
right.
Neutral rinse.
Yes. So for some of us, that might be playing an instrument. For one of the people there, it was bowling.
Yes.
Right? I'm like, oh, I love
flight simulation. That was the volunteer
flight simulation.
Brought that up. That was
his thing. Right? I think I've talked a couple of episodes about sing-along spin class for me, Tuesday mornings. That's where you're going to find me. And I just love to be with a group of people singing like loudly to 80s music. Tina Turner.
I go to that spin class sometimes and try to harmonize to the music.
Oh, gosh. Not necessary. We're not good singers. I feel like as a class, it's not a group of great singers, but there's a lot of heart.
There's a lot of
release, right? Yeah. It is so fun. Isaac, you let me know if you...
Oh, gosh.
Tuesday morning. Before coffee break.
Let's sing and spin it out. Yeah. But, so just to his point, like your neutral rinse can be...
I love that idea. It resonates with me so much. Just something that involves the right amount of brain activity.
Yeah.
So like... just wash your brain. Wash your brain. I cannot get it out of my head.
We're not brainwashing.
You're a neutral rinse over your...
Yes.
Why is that? I'm going to...
And maybe could we shift our view of rest or caring for ourselves just by knowing that caring for yourself is actually a way to care for our community?
Yeah, that's a beautiful point. Yeah. It's not just like I'm being selfish, I'm being unproductive, but it is a necessary part of caring well for our community. That if we're taking good care of ourselves, we're feeling connected to God, we're feeling aware of how God is working in our lives, we're talking with Him, we're spending time with Him, and we're honoring how He made us and the things that we need to feel good and to be a positive, active part of our community. Like that's
ideal.
Yeah.
Right. Rest is right. It is kind of mandated, actually.
It made it into the Ten
Bible.
Commandments.
Yeah.
Like,
Right?
Yep. It's
So
important.
it is important.
It's a gift for us. Yeah.
Yeah.
That we can even give. Yeah, I think it is. It's sustaining work so that we can continue to care for people.
Maybe we could think about this week, the three of us. What will we do? Like, can we commit to some kind of beautiful rest?
Oh, I love this, Anne.
Ooh, we did not talk about this. I'm putting you on the spot. Poor Isaac. But I feel like, yeah, you guys, it's like a bit of a cruddy week. There's been snow and gray. We're coming, let's hope, soon to spring. But even like, what would be something that we could do that's restful for ourselves this week?
Well, I've got mine already.
So what is it, Alicia?
Well, I think I told you like last week for the very first time after Anne, I've heard her talk about saunaing for months.
Yes.
And especially contrast therapy, where you go from
cold.
very hot to very cold, and what it does for your body and your mind. And so last week, I took a few hours to just do some intentional resting. And part of that, I was like, I'm going to try it. So I did. The sauna at the health club I go to was not working. So the steam room was. So I did I think a round of steam, which was maybe like 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
And then, super cold shower for as long as I could stand it. And
You
I
felt
did that.
refreshed, it
It
sounds
was
like.
amazing. And I was like, this cannot be the last time I do this. So I did it the next day.
Oh my goodness.
I was like,
you're
so
hooked.
It's been
I brainwashed
days, but
you.
I'm like, I need you brainwashed me. This is the best brainwash I've had. No, but I do think I was like, I would really like to make this a part of like some sort of weekly rhythm for me that that I do a little bit of this more, because it's like so physically it just takes you out of yourself in a way that's really, really helpful.
What about you, Isaac?
Yeah.
How are you going to rest this week?
This sounds like super cliche, but I really want to read. I want to get into reading again. I used to read like all the time as a kid and in high school, and then college kind of ruined that for me.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden
Because it's like
reading was
required reading,
it's an
and you're
assignment.
like, how could I possibly read more? That's not fun.
So I'm still like navigating through the fallout of that.
Yeah. Fiction, nonfiction. What are you thinking?
I just watched the trailer for Dune 3.
Are you just embarking on your Dune journey?
Well, so it made me think like, wow, I should really read these books actually. 'Cause the movies are good, but I really want to read the books. And then it just got me thinking like, well, I just should read in general. Like, I don't think I know what I'm going to read.
So you're going to head to the bookstore.
Yeah. Well, there's
you
a
a
ton
book.
of books that I have from college that I never read that I wanted to. A lot of them are like theology books and stuff. I don't know if I'm
you got to go back and forth between fiction and theology. I think fun and
yeah.
Nice.
Harry Potter.
Yes, yes.
It's a big difference between theology and Harry Potter, but yeah. So we'll see how I'm feeling in a few days.
Well, I'm headed to visit some family, and I'm really looking forward to some relaxed time. Maybe sharing a cup of coffee with my mom or my aunt, or both, probably. My mom
In a pretty
and
mug.
my aunt.
I'm all about the pretty cups.
In a pretty cup. I'll see what cups are there. But yeah, I feel like that is the kind of rest that I am looking forward to this next week, is just to, spend some time connecting with important people in my life, and having that be relaxed and unrushed.
Yeah.
Right.
I love that, Anne.
Like not having an established end time, but being able to have kind of a meandering conversation and warm cup of coffee.
Yeah. Well, here's to caring for ourselves as we care for others.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, I just want to say, as a care team, we're a place where you can ask for help. So if there are people that are listening that are feeling burnt out or burdened or overwhelmed, I just really encourage our ministry is a place to kind of talk through that, to pray about that, to get resource information, or just even to kind of process where you're at with another person. I think it's really important in this community that we definitely feel like you don't have to do this alone. We're here to help one another. And so I just invite folks to reach out to the care team at Blackhawk if that's where you're at.
How do they reach us, Ann?
Right? I guess you can call our care team. The direct number I'll say is 608-828-4230. So we'd love to talk with you. And I think as we wrap up our final care ministry takeover of the Next Steps podcast, I just want to say what an absolute pleasure it's been. And I think the thing that I really hope for our time on the Next Steps podcast is that people that are part of the Blackhawk community would feel like they know who we are. Ann and Alicia and Isaac, honorary member.
Honorary care team member.
That they know who we are, and we want you to say hello. We want you to reach out. We want you to say hi on a Sunday, or to send us a message, or to give us a phone call. We are your team, and we're in this together. And so I just certainly want to invite that and say that Alicia and I are just absolutely looking forward to talking with you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I guess we're wrapping up. So it's been a pleasure.
Thanks for letting us be on this podcast.
I know. Thanks, Isaac.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And thanks for listening.
I know. It's true. All right. Take care.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Next Steps. Don't forget to check out the show notes for a list of resources if you'd like to keep the conversation going. If you want to learn more about how to get connected at Blackhawk or simply find tools to help you grow, check out blackhawk.church/hub. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend and subscribe so you won't miss future episodes. Until next time, let's keep following Jesus together.